It's basically a camera. It was put forward by Martin Taylor from Environmental Management. Apparently, these cameras are really good quality. It's a local firm. It's something that we've been asking for, and I think initially we can put it in one ward that has fly tipping issues and antisocial behaviour issues in one of the hotspots, and then it's you attach it to a lamppost and it's powered off that, and they can move it about quite easily. So I'm going to suggest that we start off in alphabetical order. C, that's if it gets through. But apparently we have enough money for it, and rather than lose that money, back to finance, I think it's a good project. But I'll let Gary speak about it at the end of the application. Is that all right, Gary? You're muted.
That's fine, Chair. Thank you. That's fine.
Okay. That's that urgent item. There was another urgent item, but that's on the agenda at the moment, and that's on the list. The Nordin application for the speed signals, so that we can discuss that when it comes on.
Thank you.
I just need to get me thing up. ModGov, just bear with me. Okay, item 4 is the minutes of the meeting, Rochdale North Township Delegated Subcommittee held on the 15th of December, and that's pages 3 to 5. Is there anything on those minutes that anybody wants to raise? No.
Chair,
Oh.
I've got one issue, but it's not in connection with those minutes. It's been brought to my attention that at the meeting on the 22nd of October, the minutes omitted any reference to the revenue contribution of £6,250 for the Healy Triangle Christmas tree lights. So that's the amendment that is needed. So I'm just after the committee's approval to amend the minutes accordingly. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, thank you.
Because it did happen.
It did.
Well received. Really good job. Right, item 5 is the Rochdale e-scooter trial approval to raise an experimental traffic regulation order. That's pages 6 to 8, and that will be Nathan, I believe.
Thank you, Chair.
Right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So following the recent Cabinet approval for the procurement and implementation of a e-scooter trial in the borough, we are seeking the committee's approval due to the structure of the constitution to implement an experimental traffic regulation order. The government has amended any area that's included in the e-scooter trials, has amended the legislation to say that an e-scooter is afforded the same abilities and the same standing as a bicycle. What we need to do in Rochdale is there are a number of existing traffic regulation orders where cyclists are allowed, and we just need to amend them, temporarily amend them for the purpose of the trial to include e-scooters under the government trial. So this report is to seek the committee's approval to do so. Happy to take any questions.
Okay, are there any questions?
Please, Chair, if I may.
Councillor Gartside, yes.
Are we de facto approving the use of these e-scooters as well, or are we only commenting on giving permission for them to be used as though they were cycles? And if we are giving permission for them to be used at all, what about the speeds and so on? And are they licensed in any way? Because people can get quite damaged, can't they, with an e-scooter hitting them when they're not expecting it?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Councillor Gartside. So Cabinet have approved the e-scooter scheme. Ideally, what would have happened is the committee reports, the Cabinet reports, where that approval was sought. It would have been useful if they'd have asked for the approval to amend the traffic regulation orders as well. Unlike a regular traffic regulation order or a temporary traffic regulation order, an experimental traffic regulation order needs to be given the go-ahead, so to speak, by the committee. So let's just say the committee didn't approve this. It wouldn't affect the e-scooter trial. It would just restrict the areas where the e-scooter could be used. For example, the purpose of this TRO is to allow e-scooters to use the bus lane on John Street, which cyclists can do. The same with Smith Street at the front of number 1 Riverside and the bus station. Currently, that's pedestrianised and cyclists. We're amending the traffic regulation order to allow them to legally use the same areas of highway as a cyclist can. With regards to the safety of and operation of the e-scooter, to use the e-scooter, you first have to sign up to the company. You have to prove that you have a provisional driving licence to use it. It's fully insured by the company. There are telematics and tracking within the e-scooter itself, so that there's basically a journey log of who's used the scooter and where they've ridden it. The scooters are restricted to a maximum speed limit of 15 miles an hour. However, in localised areas, particularly like high footfall areas, town centre, we can actually limit the speed using GPS fencing, it's called. And similarly, we can actually prevent the scooters from using certain areas of the town which we don't want to use. The e-scooter trial is only legalises the use of the approved operator that RMBC are going to appoint. Any private operation of an e-scooter is still illegal for use on the highway. So it is a very controlled scheme.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Thank you,
Okay.
Nathan.
Does anybody else want to ask a question or make a comment? Councillor Winkler.
So, thank you, Chair. I have got quite a lot of reservations about this scheme. I won't go into them all based on what Nathan's just said, that this is for a limited part of the scheme. What I do have concerns with is anything where we put what is essentially a motor vehicle in proximity of pedestrianised areas. There's a lot of concern about this going about at the moment. I do feel it's been pushed through quite quickly, not just by the council. It's, to be fair, it's been pushed through at a national level as well, for reasons of COVID and green infrastructure and all sorts of things that it's being pushed through. I just do think there's a lot of areas of concern which give me an uneasy feeling about mixing these things that, like say, can go up to 15 miles an hour in pedestrianised zones. They're very small wheels, potholes. There's all sorts of accidents and problems as far as I can see. I just can't justify it with myself, to be honest. That's all right, Chair.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that as well. It's one of that. We're dipping our toe into the water, but it has been approved by Cabinet. We are, I think our role in this is just this, to change the TRO. Well, I mean, you do get bikes, these battery bikes do 15 miles an hour.
Yeah, I mean, if I could, Chair, the Federation of the Blind have particularly raised this with pedestrian areas and docking stations, which I think we're going to have docking stations in Rochdale. Can Nathan come back if you're on still, Nathan?
No, I just want
some reasoning around how we're going to mitigate that for blind people or other disabilities who are going to be in these pedestrianised areas.
Yeah, I just want to bring in Councillor Heatkin, and then Councillor Cox, and then I'll get Nathan just to sum up,
Okay, thank you.
and then we'll take a vote on it or agree to it, see what the committee wants. Okay, Councillor Heatkin.
Thank you, Chair. I'm quite looking forward to the trial of these e-scooters because it's all in contact with our climate change agenda, in that we should use less fossil fuel and less car use and use alternative ways of getting around the town. So I'm quite pleased with this development, really. The scooters are a sturdy design. They're not like the older the bicycles, the mobikes that were in Manchester, which were a very poor design, weren't very sturdy and didn't have many security features. They're also used a lot throughout the towns of Europe. Last year, there were more than 1 million journeys made on them. So I think it'd be good enough for Barcelona, it's good enough for Rochdale. And at the end of the day, it's a trial. You know, if it works, fine, it was my idea. If it doesn't work, then we can just quietly move on. But I think it's possible to be a game changer for local transport and getting around the town. So I think it's just well worth it.
Okay, thanks, Kieran. Councillor Cox, you want to comment?
Thank you. Yes, just to say that I have been the voice of, oh no, not e-scooters in town, and have been constantly reassured and told that they are going to be speed limited. And I think this ETRO is another way of making them more secure about where they do go and where they don't go. I have shared that anxiety about people with disabilities and shared spaces, as expressed by Councillor Winkler. But I think in terms of the best thing about this is that it's a trial. And I think everybody will be keeping their eyes open to see what happens, not least of all me. So I'm supportive of the ETRO. Thank you.
Okay. Do you want to just come back on those comments, please, Nathan?
Yep, thank you, Chair. So just to reassure members that the scooters will not be permitted to go in pedestrianised areas. They won't be allowed to use the footways. They're only allowed to go where existing bicycles can go. As Councillor O'Neill pointed out, you can get battery-assisted bicycles that go 50 mile an hour, and most cyclists can actually probably get 20 mile an hour, if not greater. Now these scooters will be, as I said, geo-fenced and restricted from where they can use it. For example, we can, let's say there's an event on the butts one weekend, we can digitally put a no-go area and the scooters will automatically shut down. The speed limits, it's all automatic. So we do have a lot of control over the use. We are engaging with disability groups, as with any street furniture, be it a cycle storage rack or a scooter storage rack. You know, they do pose challenges for people with visual impairments, so we are engaging with them groups. Yeah, it is going to be a safe trial. It is going to be monitored, and I believe the operators are looking to engage with councillors as well and offer a demonstration event as well if possible, subject to COVID regulations.
Okay. Right then, I think there's 4 items of this paper to be noted, and the other one is the approval of the ETRO. So without further ado, I think we can note it, and we'll take a vote on whether to implement the ETRO. So just a show of hands, all those in favour of implementing this ETRO? Can I count? Can anybody count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
7, Chair.
7 against the TRO. 1. So that's carried then. the ETRO will go ahead. Okay, just go back to me notes on this. The next item is item 6, which is the Rochdale North Township Funds 2021. I'll hand it over to Gary.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Before we consider the applications, can I just ask that members note the recommendations that are within the report that are on page 9 of the report, and they're contained in paragraphs 2.1, 2.2, 2.4 and 2.5. Is that okay?
Yeah, is that all right with the committee? With the recommendations 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4, 2.5? Am I getting a yes? I'm switched screens now. I'm looking at that recommendation, so I can't see anybody. So there's nobody against it, is there? No, I'm going with the recommendation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So if we can now move into the applications, I think we've got 12 applications tonight. Just to let the committee know, we have approximately just over 35,000 funding available for tonight. Okay. And if you were to support all the applications, which includes the late item, which is the Edenfield Road project, and you were willing to support the urgent item that Councillor O'Neill has listed tonight, that would total 30,770. So we have enough funds to support all applications if that's what you feel you can do. Okay. So the first application tonight is reference TC 2520, and it's site community base disabled access. The request is for £1,550. It's Appendix 4A, and that's on page 22 of your report. And Sheila Acton from Site Community Base is here to present the application, sorry.
Okay, thanks, Gary. Hi, Sheila.
Hi, Gary. Hi, Sean.
Thanks for coming
Long
along.
time no see.
Yeah. If I just give you 5 minutes, I was going to make a comment. There's not enough detail in this report, but that might be a little bit facetious. So just
I didn't
5
put
minutes.
the report in, so I can't say.
No.
I didn't put
I think there's
application.
rather a lot really for what we're asking. If you just give us a brief outline of it, and you know, up to 5 minutes, and introduce yourself, because not everyone will know who you are. But I doubt it.
Good evening, councillors. I'm Sheila Acton. I am the chair of the trustees for Site Community Base, and we moved some years ago because of cuts to our funding to share the building with Site Methodist Church. Over the last 4 months now, we have been in the process of totally refurbishing the church so that we have got accessibility on 2 levels rather than 1, which we've always had in the past because the building was built in 18 something. So obviously the steps up to the front door, which are very worn by years and years of walking in there, and the access, there isn't any access for people with disability, only through the fire door at the back. So the idea of what we want to do now is to create an access, and to create an access within the building. We're in the process of applying for the money to put a lift in between floors 1 and 2. And this would be just at the entrance. Obviously, it won't pay for it all, but it will help with some of the funding that we're looking for. Is that short and sweet enough for you, Sean?
That's perfect, that, Sheila. Are there any questions from the members for Sheila on this application? No. Just to say that the ward have allocated some funds as well. Oh, sorry, Councillor Heatkin, you want to say something?
Yeah, just to say that it really is a good idea to have disabled access. It's been difficult over the years to get in there at the front with the steps being there, and this will bring it in a more user-friendly way of opening up the centre for those who are disabled. So it really is a brilliant idea, and they've done an awful lot of work at site base to make it more proactive and more friendly for our disabled friends. So I'm really pleased with this appointment and hope that it can open soon to everyone in the community.
If I could just say, Councillor Heakin, that when we have completed all the work, it is the intention of having an open day so that people can come up and see exactly the work that's been undertaken. If you know site, we've already rendered the outside of the building, which makes it look far more attractive to people to use. And we're trying our level best now to when we can open again to encourage people back into the building. And the access, as you've just said, has always been a problem.
Great, I look forward to that.
Okay, I think we can get on with it then. Without further ado, can we approve this application? Show of hands.
Yes, of course, yeah.
Approved.
Is that? I think that's everyone in it. Unanimous. Okay.
Thank you,
Can you
Councillor.
That's
confirm how
approved,
much it's
Sheila.
for, Chair?
Thank you,
Can
councillors, and thank you,
Sorry,
Chair, for inviting
Chair.
me to come.
Sorry.
Can you confirm how much it's for? How much you're rewarding?
It's
1,200.
1,550.
Well, right, thank you.
1,550. Sorry. It's hard with these screens, I'll tell you. You need two laptops, really.
Can I
Okay.
leave the meeting now then?
Yeah, you
Councillor?
can stay if you want.
No,
You know,
I'm
there's nothing
going
on
to
the
go and have my
TV.
tea. So thank you very much,
All
everybody.
right. Thanks,
Thank you.
Sheila. Thanks for
Bye-bye.
coming along.
Bye.
Sheila.
Okay.
Yes. Somebody say Sheila.
I think they said to
Jim.
Bye, Sheila.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Jim. Nice to see you. Bye.
Okay. Thanks, Sheila. All right, Gary. Next application.
Okay, the next application is TC 2620, Shawclough Village Notice Board. The application is for £2,578. It's Appendix 4B and it's on page 72. I think the application is fairly self-explanatory, but Michael Bushman is in attendance if anybody's got any questions for him. Thank you.
Okay, Michael, if you has anybody got any questions for Michael on this? It's just there is a drawing of it and where it's going to go in Shawclough. I think it will enhance the village, give it a little bit of village status. Shawclough. I noticed the other day. I haven't noticed it before. There's a post box in the village that's got GR on. You don't see so many of those. That was George before Queen Elizabeth, and that's the idea behind a lot of this, bringing the village, giving it that better, friendlier feel than just a row of shops. So I think hopefully the committee will approve this application. Part of it has been funded by the Ward Forum. So no questions. Do you want to make a comment? No. Okay, can we? Do you want to make a comment, Kieran?
Just a comment, yes, please.
Yeah.
Just to say, I look forward to it because it does enhance the community aspect of the village because you can walk past it and see what's on. What I really do look forward to seeing though is when we have our Healy Forum meetings, that we can plaster the events on there and make sure that we can make everyone aware of it as well. Because down in Shawclough, I think some of the residents there feel a bit too distant from Syke, and so it gives them more of an interest on what's going on. And especially if we can move the forum meeting around the borough a bit as well, around the ward, then that would help. But I do look forward to seeing it advertised and promoted on there, as well as all of our community events, because there's quite a lot going on. So let's publicise it a bit more. It's a good opportunity, and it does look nice, very nice indeed.
Yeah. Okay then. Again, without further ado, can we approve this application? Show of hands. I think that's unanimous, is it? Yes, nobody against. Okay, that's approved. For that, just remind us the amount for Peter.
£2,578.
Right. Thank you. The next
Okay.
one.
Next application is RP 1220. And the title of the project is Tackling Mines. The application is for £2,175.54. It's Appendix 4C, and it's on page 76. We have two representatives with regards to the application present, but if I can just say that this is a borough-wide application, so obviously it's going to all townships. It went to Rochdale South, I think it was last week, and it was supported in principle. Okay, and I think we've got David Lyons and Daniel Williams present. Thank you.
Okay. Welcome to the meeting, Mr. Lyons and Mr. Williams.
Hello.
Hello. I can see you there. If you'd just like to give a little brief presentation on your application, or more than 5 minutes, and then there'll be maybe some questions from the committee. Okay, 5 minutes between. It's either 2.5 minutes each, or whichever way you want to split it.
I think we'll let Dave describe the program, and then if you've got any specific technical questions, I'll answer them.
Okay. Okay, you're going to have to unmute Dave. If you can do that. I can't do it. You've muted again for some reason. Unmute again.
Okay.
That's fine.
Thank you very much.
Speak up slightly. It's a bit quiet.
Is that any better?
That's a little bit better, yes. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Dave, and I run the organisation Tackling Mines. So Tackling Mines, we run a number of angling events for people with mental health issues, be it social deprivation, homelessness, addiction recovery. And we incorporate the Angling Trust Get Fishing Awards into each of our events, which is introducing newcomers to the sport, right the way through to people who perhaps lost the love for the sport, that want to rekindle that flame for the sport. So yes, we introduce people and use many benefits. So myself, I have first-hand experience what fishing has done. I suffered with severe mental health. It was anxiety and depression, and I found fishing to be the best therapy over like all the therapies that I was offered, medication, to be CBT therapy. I wanted to share my experience with other people and show people by getting out in the green open spaces that you can engage with other people, you can keep that mind occupied. The list is endless. So I set up a Facebook page. We now have over 7,000 people following us on Facebook and inundated on a daily basis with people wanting to join Tackling Mines. So we have a number of events throughout Rochdale, throughout the borough. We have a number of venues. So all our venues are accessible to everybody. We have level 1 and level 2 trained angling coaches for each of our events. Those angling coaches are trained in safeguarding, be it children, be it adults. They've got the first aid. So yeah, basically we're wanting to expand on the projects that we've already undertaken, which have been really successful, and make it accessible for everybody else in the borough. So yeah, we have the angling activities. They're open to anybody. It doesn't matter age, background, gender, literally anybody. So I'd like to pass it over to Danny if that's possible, and Danny will give you a few more details of what Tackling Mines is about.
Okay, so Tackling Mines is it's formed from a basic need, and we've seen that happen nationally and regionally. We have several groups that have been working in the field for well over 10 years. So the Peninsula Angling Club, based on Wirral, which works with guys and girls with housing issues and dependency issues. We've got several programs that are running within inner cities, reaching out to members of the community that have fallen through the gaps. I'll explain a little bit more about that in a second. And the group that what Dave's doing is linking up with groups that are already supporting but are looking for activities that match the needs of their clients, participants, service users. And we're also looking at the potential for direct sort of social prescribing. We've got a couple of pilots at the moment that will be looking at GP pathway and referral offers, so that somebody who's feeling depressed, anxious, is suffering from any issues that affects their well-being, is able to, instead of being offered medication straight off or an invasive sort of therapy, they're offered some angling as their medication for their symptoms. There's a large section of society that has really suffered since it's virtually 12 months now since last March, and that's a section that the angling itself is able to sort of reach and support. We have options for people who are disabled or in care or within the system. However, there's great many people who fall through that system, people who don't recognise or identify as disabled, but they may have a long-term health condition. I know from research that we've done, our membership itself is around about sort of around the 40% mark that has that issue. Angling has become super popular over the last 12 months. We've increased EA license sales by over 19%. So that's around about 100,000 new people participating within the sport. Now, those are ones that understand that they need a license and have been identified. There's probably a number of people who are using the therapeutic benefits of angling anyway, without knowing that they need that sort of legal support when they're actually fishing. We have, just one moment, we have several service groups that work with Dave at the moment. Healthier Heroes, there's a couple of school groups, and they are sort of the feedback that's come back from them is that there's probably guys within those groups that may not have been here, sort of like because of their depression over the last couple of months. That activity, being able to get out, has been very helpful, and just being able to sort of, after being sort of locked up, whether sort of like through legislation, drawn the 3 various lockdowns that we've had, or just self-isolating and sort of like, making yourself unavailable to your friends, family, and the outside world. They all impact on us emotionally. And what we found is that, as you know, Sport England has allowed angling to continue when other sports haven't, and it's because of the therapeutic benefits. An example would be somebody in their 30s has had a sports injury or work injury. They've damaged their knee or their hip. They're not going to identify as being disabled, but they're not going to take their daily exercise by walking around the block or jumping on a bike. So the alternative is to find something that is less invasive on them, less sort of a low impact activity. And angling's the ideal opportunity. They can sit, they can stand, they can be as physical as they need to be, they can relax. Just sitting in the sun and sort of building up your vitamin D is an amazing thing. We know that it sort of supports protection against infections such as COVID-19. But again, the long-term health benefits are exponential. The other thing about the angling program is that it truly does reach everybody. Whether you're 4 or 104, you're able to participate. It's open to families, and it's open to anybody that just needs that time to reflect, that time to sort of relax within nature's bounds.
Okay, Daniel,
so,
that's 5 minutes. Good presentation. Interested in angling myself. Before all this, but I've never got around to doing it.
To get you out fishing.
If there's one in Delegated actually that we've supported before, but are there any questions for Dave Lyons or Mr. Daniel? Any questions or comments?
Yes, please. There is a question actually I put in the chat box.
Yes, Iftikhar. Yes.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah. Yes, my question actually has had two parts. Because your project is borough-wide, and can I ask actually how many service users you have at the moment? And second part, and how did you support actually service users, especially those who are feeling social isolation in this pandemic?
Okay.
Would you like to answer?
Can you answer that for us? What are you?
Sorry.
Dan, you okay?
Yeah.
Do you want me to answer that, or
Yeah, that's
anybody?
okay with you.
Yeah, okay. So at the moment, Dave's we're working with sort of service providers, and he's offering the angling to sort of extend those groups that he's working with. He's also working with some special needs schools. Some of that started in November, and that's for people who've sort of, through one reason or another, not been able to engage fully within the current education system. Angling's really good with people who suffer from ADHD and things like that. And instead of having to medicate using Ritalin, etc., the angling becomes a replacement for that. Strangely, several of the elements of the condition ADHD is that you can't focus, you're looking for new things all the time, you can't sit in a classroom, that sort of stuff. And yet for some reason, when we go fishing with these guys that struggle in those situations, they're able to focus fully for 5 hours without anything sort of distracting them. We've got quite a lot of research that's prevalent since 2012, which I can forward onto you if you want to look at that in depth. But the actual reasons why angling does work, we're still trying to work that out ourselves. It just seems to fit the bill. Now I don't think I've answered all of your question. It was in 2 parts, wasn't it? Which bit haven't I?
Yes.
Which bit hasn't he answered, Iftikhar, did you? Are you
It
happy
was
with
2
his
questions.
answer?
Yeah, very satisfactory. Yeah.
I thought, right, okay.
Okay.
I'll go on to, there's a question from Councillor Winkler and then Councillor Gartside. Councillor Winkler.
Thank you, Chair. I've got 1 or 2, if that's all right, if you indulge me. The first one I've got is around the website, and I know this is being split up. I'm just looking at the breakdown of costs. We've got in the breakdown a cost of £2,000 for, well, it seems to me, £2,000 for e-commerce website design, and then the quote's 1,900. I know it's a little thing, but if there's a discrepancy, I think we just need to check if there is, and if so, why.
So initially, when I was filing the application form, I got a number of quotes, but they actually wasn't written quotes. So I had to go back and work on that and get some written quotes. So that's why you've got a difference in price.
Okay. The other one I've got, and please don't take this as a criticism to you, I've raised it in other things at the past, and actually it's come to the good in the past. The quote contains a lot of detailed things from a well-known angling mega store, National Country. We have got at least 2 local shops that could be supplying this, and the question is always, if we're funding this as a local project, why are we not using those local suppliers rather than the national mega store?
Well, I've actually got a really good relationship with Rochdale Angling Centre as well, actually. So that is something, you know, that we would forward to them when we do, if we do get the funding, that is, we would definitely be speaking to Rochdale. Just, I do believe, as Tackling Minds believes that we do want to keep things local as well. And they have supported us up until now by, they give us free bait for our local events as well. So it's somewhere I'd like to build up more of a relationship with them, which I've already got quite a good relationship at the minute as well. So
good one. And my last one, t-shirts. I know I'm picking holes in this, but
no, it's fine.
It's fine. Are these
The
for use?
t-shirts.
The t-shirts. Well, I hope they're good quality.
Picking holes in
them.
Them mosquitoes.
I'm noting. Well, I was going to say, I'm noticing they're already done and printed. Are they for sale or are they for giving away?
Well, to make things sustainable, so we don't have to look at other funding in future. This is why I've come up with ideas to obviously make it sustainable. Now, through market research with the 7,000 Facebook followers, there is a huge market. I've also been accepted by Angling Direct to stock these in their stores as well. So that's quite an exciting venture that's happening as well. So we've got a number of items. That's t-shirts, caps, hoodies. So yeah, that's something just to keep things ticking over.
Could I just add to that a little bit? One of the things with a project like that, like this, is to sort of like have a branded name, something that people can refer to and understand. And Dave's got quite a lot of anglers, you know, just general volunteers who would like to come and support his programs, and they do so under the guidance of specialists, level 2 licensed angling coaches and health professionals. But to distinguish the guys that are supporting people, you know, as mentors or as anglers themselves, they need to be identified against the participants, you know, so you can see who's doing what. So there's that element. And I think there's an option for people who've come through the program to, you know, when you find something that works for you, when it helps you personally, you can become quite linked in with it, and that ability to then mentor other people who've had a similar experience that you have, you know, sort of, so that volunteered mentor thing, we want to keep that going. And again, that's where these t-shirts come in. But as David as explained, one of the hardest things is sort of keeping a program running and delivering a quality product to people as cheaply as possible without having to request funding or make it a profit-making group. You know, it's like, you know, community interest group should be able to sort of like just sort of move things along. So the idea is just to become self-sufficient.
I completely appreciate what you're saying. I admire the fact that you've thought that through. You know, all I want to be is very clear on there's £918 in the funding as to whether that is for, as it says, t-shirts for volunteers and participants, or that is a stock holding that you're looking to go on and sell in an e-commerce store.
So that would be for the e-commerce store,
right? Because that's very much not what it says in the listing. I'm sorry, I'm being picky, but I think it's two different things. It's quite a lot of money to stock a store as opposed to give to the participants. I don't know what other members feel on that.
Okay, we'll move on to Councillor Gartside's got a question.
Yes, please, just a couple of points. You mentioned about a first aid kit, but will you have people trained in first aid, or do you never need that?
So each of our level 1, level 2 angling coaches, they have training in safeguarding adults, children, have the basic first aid.
Right.
And Danny, I suppose you could carry on.
Yeah.
With this as
so
well.
All level 2 coaches are that Dave's using are fully licensed. That means to be licensed, and these are checked annually. The coach has sat recently an emergency first aid course that is relevant and recognised by Sport England, First for Sport, and Department for Culture. That they've done a safeguarding or time to listen course, so they understand the situation with working with young people and vulnerable adults, how to react if disclosures made, and also to even pick up on possible abuse or sort of bullying or anything like that that's happening within the family, the home, that kind of thing. So it's first aid, it's the safeguarding, and also DBS to make sure that there's no criminal records there. And then we have a suite of continual professional development stuff that people can add on to. And again, that's linked in with Sport England and Coachwise. So working with invisible disabilities, using social media with young people and disadvantaged communities or vulnerable adults, that kind of thing. So it's sort of everything, it's nationally overseen, and we sort of monitor to make sure that everything's done in the correct and appropriate manner.
Well, that probably answers my second question, which was, I know you've got data protection policies, but you've nobody, no DBS checked staff and volunteers, but that's because the people that you're employing are already got DBS. If they're the ones who are going to work with youngsters.
Yeah. And so are the health professionals that support those youngsters or vulnerable adults as well.
Fine.
So it's like, that's why we can't force a volunteer to do a DBS if they're working with people under guidance and just being sort of deployed for a few hours with someone. They might only volunteer once or twice every couple of years or something like that. Whereas because the coaches themselves and the health professionals are on the front line, they're doing constantly, and the chances are that they might be on their own with a vulnerable participant, etc. They are expected to do a DBS. They won't be licensed without one.
Thank you for all that. Very reassuring.
Okay. Right. There's obviously a question mark over this T-shirt business and the the stock and all the rest of it.
Chair, sorry to interrupt, Chair. Could I come in and just ask a further question about who's actually printing the T-shirts?
Yes, it's a company, but who's not in the borough.
They're not being done in-house.
I'm assuming that's what you're going to ask, isn't it?
I was wondering if it was being done in-house, to be fair, but
no,
company outside the borough.
It's a professional company. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Rather than just blindly approve this, I think we need to look at this again, Gary, that it isn't some kind of business part of it, rather than a community of community value. I think we can support it in principle, but if you could come back on us on that question that Councillor Winkler has raised, we can then defer the actual funding decision to the chair and vice chair and opposition, which is Councillor Winkler. So would the committee be mindful of that proposal from me?
Agree, Chair. Agree.
You agree?
I agree there.
Can we have a show of hands? You agree with that proposal? That we support it in principle. Gary goes away and looks at this.
I agree, Chair.
Okay. I did want to say cast your votes, but I haven't had the opportunity to say it. So is that all right? Is that all right, Gary?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely fine. If you were to agree it in principle to the value of 217554, subject to the questions that Councillor Winkler in the main has asked, then it's delegated to yourself and the vice chair. At a later date. Is that okay?
That's it. I think that looks into it properly.
Sorry, Chair. I can't get my thing working with the chat, but there was one other part on that.
All right, I've seen you now.
That also, I thought food and drink wasn't permissible on these applications. So perhaps if Gary can just check that as well. I hadn't spotted that before. It's only because it was below the item on the t-shirts. So that's a similar point, actually. So sorry to interrupt. But
Okay,
in principle, great idea.
Okay.
Great idea in principle.
Yeah.
I can check that.
So,
Right,
Chair,
well,
if I can
that'll
just
fall
say,
in with that proposal as well.
sorry, if I could just say, Chair, butting in again, I'm sorry. Just to Dave and to Daniel, I'm sorry to be a thorn in the side of the project. It's just scrutinised so we make sure everything that runs through is completely pucker. So
No,
absolutely support the project.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in principle, we do support it, but we just want the details that we're not going outside of our own remit for involving this fund. Okay.
Chair, can I just make one other point, please? And it's based on what Councillor Winkler said. Is the committee supportive of trying to get purchases from within the borough? Is that because that might have an effect on price anyway? So
Absolutely.
do you want the applicants to try and get quotes from borough providers?
Yeah, we've had this before, haven't we?
We have indeed.
Where we said that we want people within the borough to support a lot of these applications, and we did change it, didn't we, on one application, but it's escapes me which one it was.
Yes, we have come across it before. We have made an amendment to the criteria, so I think we should be suggesting to the applicants that if possible they get provision from local suppliers, which could have an effect on price. Okay.
Yeah, and then send it back to the chair, vice chair, and opposition spokesperson.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for your presentation. Thanks for the concept of it. Still supporting it. I think it's a good idea. But we're going to move on now. So you can leave us if you so wish.
Thank you.
And or stay if you want.
Have a good evening. Cheers.
And yourself. Thank you. Thanks for coming along. So on to the next one, please.
Okay, thank you. The next one is RP 1720. It's Bradley Smith Close waiting restrictions. The request is for £4,000. It's Appendix 4D on page 102, and Nathan's present to discuss that.
Okay, Nathan, over to you.
Thank you, Chair. So this proposal is to introduce waiting restrictions in the cul-de-sac turning area of Bradley Smith Close after receiving a number of complaints from residents that vehicles are blocking their driveway. There was previously keep clear written on the carriageway, which is an unlawful use of the marking in that situation. We have no records to show that we as Rochdale Council put that marking down, so we can only assume that it was done by the developer. The only solution to the issue is to introduce waiting restrictions to prevent people from parking there. It is a residential area. It is likely that the vehicles causing the obstructions belong to neighbouring properties. There is a plan on page 104 of the report showing the proposals.
Okay, anybody want to comment on it? Councillor Heatkin.
Thank you. I've been contacted several times by the residents on Bradley Smith Close. It seems a strange one, this, because it's right at the end of a cul-de-sac, and you think, why do we need yellow lines at the end, right at the end of a cul-de-sac? But there's 8 houses at the end there, and because of indiscriminate and poor parking, you just can't get into the drives. And one of the residents, his son had special needs and needed to get out more often, etc. And there were so many times they were frustrated by the fact that they couldn't get out because someone had parked there across them, and it was in really big letters, keep clear, but it was white. So I just thought it's strange. So I think that this is what we need. Obviously, what was there before does not work, has not worked. So we do need to ramp it up a bit now. And I think this is the only solution to get a just parking rule for the residents at the end there. There's 8 houses there. It also has a knock-on effect on the other houses as well. So I'm quite happy to approve this one. And it's just strange really how you see very clear letters, keep clear, but they weren't doing the job. It was not done what it did. Thank you.
Okay. Obviously not a TRO. There's quite a few of them all over the place. You do see them, and like Nathan says, probably the developer. There's a couple of properties there that are specially adapted. I think that was the original kind of proposal for it all in that corner. Obviously, it's a cul-de-sac. You need to be able to turn the refuse wagon and fire engine, etc. around. So keep clear doesn't do the trick. Hopefully, yellow lines would. Does anybody want to make a comment on it? No.
Chair.
Yes.
Yeah,
Go outside.
Just purely that it's a lot to spend just on a bit of yellow line. There's nothing else in the area that requires the same treatment, is there? Whilst the TROs being made active.
No, that wasn't the recommendation. Recommendation come from the highway. The original complaint came from a resident who and it went in through to highways. And it came back to us about to support it. So no,
I'm fine
the answer to that is no. It's just that area. Well, it's not the actual painting the lines, is it? It's the TRO that takes up the money.
Quite.
You have to speak to someone else about that.
No, I know that. It's just there wasn't else at the same time.
You know, we've got that in hand, haven't we? I think we're going to get a report to townships it came from Rochdale North Township about the cost of TROs and such things. So hopefully it'll be next year, won't it? The next council year we'll get an answer to the TRO question. Okay. Does anybody else want to say anything about it? No. I'll put it to the vote then, because we voted on everything else. All those in favour of the application, please show. I think I can see that's, I think more or less, yeah, unanimous. Anybody against? There's nobody against, so that's unanimous. So that's approved, that application. So go on to the next, the emergency one, what came in from Nordin.
That'll be the late item, you mean, Chair? I was just going to go.
The one that's on the agenda.
Yes, well, the Edenfield Road.
That's it, yeah, the speed warning signs.
So the next one is RP 2020, which is Edenfield Road driver feedback signs. That's for £5,436.48. That is Appendix 5A, and it's on page 3 of the supplementary pack. And I think John McCall is in attendance to cover that one.
Chair, can I come in, please, Chair?
Okay.
Chair, should we not cover the main agenda first item, Chair? Because I think there's already the application on the agenda, and it's 105 is the next application. And this is just, I think, my understanding or suggestion that once we've gone through the agenda, and then at the end, the emergency will be taken up at the end, once we've done all the application in the main agenda pack, Chair. Is there?
Okay, well, the next one on my list is the Tell Street, Kathleen Street, knee rail.
Yeah, that's 105, yeah.
So shall I take that next, Chair?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so the next one is RP 1820, and that's Tell Street, Kathleen Street, knee rail. That's on page 105 and is Appendix 4E. The request is for £3,801. Now, the lead officer for environmental management isn't with us tonight, but I do understand that from the application, I understand that Councillor Rana and Councillor Massey have been involved in this. So I don't know if they've want to say a few words on the application.
Yeah, Chair. We've been myself and Councillor Massey, we've been involved with this. I mean, the pictures are there and it's self-explanatory. All the wood post holding the current rail have rotten, and some of the poles are missing as well. And we've asked for the metal one to be replaced instead of the wooden one. And what the price include is the removal of the old redundant trip hazard, which has become basically trip hazard at the moment. So removal of that, and then installation of the new altogether new metal, which will also include the metal post and the metal tubes there to make a complete knee height fence. The reason would be it'll just stop the mopeds and the scooters going on the grass, saving there, and not damaging the landscape there, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, does anybody want to come in on this? Any questions? No. I think it's a good idea. It needs replacing. It's a hazardous. It looks hazardous at the moment, the pictures. I know where it is. I know where Tell Street is. It's just down by the flats there. So nobody wants to say anything else. Just a show of hands that we approve this. Seems a good price, actually. Cheaper than Yellow Lines. Okay. Is anybody against it? No. Okay, that's approved for that sum. I can't remember, 3,000, what was it?
£3,801.
Yeah, okay, that's
Okay.
approved. So we now go on to the
next one. The next one is
Edenfield Road one.
No, it's not. According to the list, it's not. So I'll just keep going through my list. I'll just keep going through my list, Chair, if that's okay.
Right.
The next one is RP 2120. The title of the project is Football versus Antisocial Behaviour. It's been put forward by Rochdale St Clement's Football Club. It's Appendix 4F and it's on page 108. And the request is for £516.44. If I can also just say that the site of Rochdale St Clement's is actually in the Northern Ward. Okay. However, Bamford Ward, sorry.
Bamford, isn't it?
Bamford Ward, sorry, yes. However, some of the access points that are identified in the report, which cause problems of people getting onto the field, actually border the Spotland and Failinge ward. So that's the reason it's come to North Township as well. It did go to South last week and they supported it. Okay, Chair.
So are we going halves with this? Is that, or is it just a contribution towards it?
It's pro rata. So I think whatever that comes to, but the request from Rochdale North is £516.44. And I think Simon Lord is in attendance to cover the report, the application, sorry.
Okay. Simon, you want to say a few words on it? Go ahead.
Yes, Chair. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but we can't see you.
No, I'm sorry about that. For some reason, I don't seem to be actually shown on the video for some reason. I'm not sure. Same happened last week when I attended the South Township. So I'm sorry about that. If I could just sort of quickly go through and just say what our problem's been and what we're hoping that you can support us with. Rochdale St Clement's has been in existence since 1905. We've had a lease at Sandy Brow, Burton Park, for 25 years. And we've been basically more recently actually arranged a lease with the council for a further 99 years. And for that, we self-manage everything, which cut the grass, mark it out, do basically everything on the site. One of the problems we've had since taking on this new status has been a lot of unwanted visitors, breaking, damaging, and basically causing a problem around the place. Particularly dog walkers that have actually, you've probably seen in the report, actually dog fouling and the toxic nature of that in terms of young people playing football. We've had signs put up, we've had requests and guidance to them that if they do want to come onto the site, then they need to basically follow the guidelines. The guidelines have been written down and basically removed. Basically, the only thing that we've been able to do is consult the police, and we reckon that the only way forward is to basically add on at several points on the site fencing, which is the similar fencing, well, exactly the same fencing the council put up when we actually took charge of the place. So really, on a further half a dozen sites, which I think you'll see on the map that I prepared of the playing fields, to prevent people coming on with motorbikes, quad bikes, and obviously dog walkers as well, most of whom are very decent about exercising the dog, but others don't seem to bother at all. They just really create a real problem for us, and that's gone on now for at least 2 or 3 years. So really what we're asking for is some support. We're all volunteers. The club is a voluntary organisation. We pay the council for rent, so to speak, over a 10-year period before it becomes no longer payable. But in addition to that, we're in a situation now of having further expense and also some health and safety problems brought about by people who are using the site. Often, actually, I think businesses where they're exercising 6 and 7 dogs at a time and coming back several times during the day. And that sort of thing has become a real problem for us. And we're asking for support to put on some extra panels of fencing to prevent that happening. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thanks very much, Mr. Lord. Any questions for Mr. Lord? Can't see any hands up. Anybody want to make a comment? I've missed? No. Yeah, I'm supporting this.
Thank you.
I know it's in Bamford, but it's one of these, and it's in Bamford, but it's not really in Bamford. But it is in Bamford. I have been lobbied actually from a couple of Bamford councillors about this.
Right.
And I think part of the playing area is in Scotland and Fairlands. If you draw maps,
it is right on the border.
Yeah. So I've seen the maps with the access. What you pointed out, definitely in Scotland and Fairlands. Yeah. So anybody want to make a comment on it? I think we can. Michael, Councillor Holly, got your hand up. Put your mic on.
It'd be a bit remiss of me if I didn't say something. And I played for St Clements for many years, and I know Mr. Lord very well. Actually, it's a brilliant organisation, and you know, residents from all across the borough probably play there. Actually, so it happens to be located in Bamford Ward, and I know that the problems they have down there. I don't think I've got a declaration of interest because it's such a long time ago since I was involved with the club. But I would wholeheartedly support this, and it's one thing that it's annoying, I have to say, and we've had this in the past at Rochdale Council meetings, in other sporting places, that people who walk their dogs on sports fields, can cause real problems with youngsters in particular, and it's something that we in my judgment, should definitely support.
Okay, there you've had it from a founder member. Yeah, it's a big problem in it, especially Springfield Park was the other place where we had lots of problems with over Balderstone. We've had it before. Councillor Rana, you want to speak?
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I think the fence is very good quality, and I've just seen the picture, and it's what's going on at the moment. It's a good one. The total project cost, I think it shows at the bottom is 2,350. And if that's been approved by the South Township as well, then I think we are contributing about 1,175. Is that correct, Chair?
I think Rochdale North contribution is £516.44. I would need to refer to the application.
Yeah, the total cost is 2,350. So if they have given only 500, then it's mean the balance we're giving, or if they, I mean, you can check it after with them.
I can check it afterwards, but from my notes, the contribution from North is 516.44. But I can double check later, not a problem.
Could I help clarify on that, please?
We don't want to shortchange them, you see. So whatever they need is fine.
Yeah.
Could I,
Simon, go ahead if you can.
Could I
help us with
clarify
this.
that? Yeah, no, we're only asking for the 500 and whatever it was from Rochdale North Township. South are putting in a similar amount, and the club itself are trying to raise the rest.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, I can't see a problem at all with that. Anybody else want to speak on it? No? Yes? Okay, can we show of hands for approval for this? Yeah, I think that's unanimous. Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank
Lord.
you, Chair.
Okay.
Much appreciated.
Thank you. And thanks for coming along. Okay, over to you again, Garrett.
Okay, the next one is RP 2320. The title of the project is Redwood School Vegetable Patch in Deanes Park. It's Appendix 4G on page 115, and the amount being requested is £1,026.84. And I believe Oliver Ashworth Grimes is present to answer questions. Okay. Oliver, you want to just give us a brief overview of this project?
For those that
No more than 5 minutes.
Okay. For those that don't know Redwood School,
You speak up a little bit. You're a bit
I'll come closer.
in an echo chamber there.
For those that don't know Redwood School, we're the largest special needs school within the borough. For this vegetable patch, we've been approached by the Friends of Deanes Park to work quite collaboratively with them. And the vegetable patch, I'm the Duke of Edinburgh coordinator for school. So the students will be working on the vegetable patch to develop their skills and also to work towards their Duke of Edinburgh award. So as well as the personal skills, the independence, communication, the self-esteem, the real life and real work skills, they'll also be using this to achieve their Duke of Edinburgh award. The site is located near Deanhurst House within the park, and the site itself is raised off the floor by about 2 foot. So to ensure it's secure for our special needs learners, we would like to erect a fence around the outside to ensure the safety of the learners. We're then using the extra funding to make some raised planters and then to source the soil and the plants to go in it. The project itself will be run just by Redwood School, but I'm hoping in time, when we're out of lockdown and out of coronavirus, to open it wider to the Friends of Deanhurst Park and possibly other groups to work on the site collaboratively with us. Yeah, and then I'm hoping in long term, we can use the vegetable patch within the park to build relationships within the wider community of the park itself and its users to promote our Redwood School and also to encourage collaborative work with other people within the wards and within the community.
Okay, thanks very much, Oliver. Thanks for coming along there. Is there any questions for Oliver? Kieran, you want to make a comment, question?
It sounds like a very good scheme, this, any way of getting children involved in growing vegetables and other plants is a great idea, because you've got a skill for life that they could have an interest that could carry them on for the rest of the years. And also, if you've got vegetables there, it's nice to eat as well. So I am definitely in favour of it. In the application form there's some pictures of a memorial underneath it. Are they anything to do with it? Or?
No, that's the next application, councillor.
Right. I thought I got the parks mixed up a bit then. So yes, I'm quite happy to approve of it. I'm happy with it.
It's not very far away. Yeah, we do know Redwood School. We've met pupils from there. They'll have left by now, I suppose. but we do know Redwood. Does anybody else want to say something? No? Okay. No, shall we go to the vote to approve this or not approve it? Do you want to say? All right, okay. I won't argue, you all got your hands up. Okay, that's approved. It's £1,264, is it?
It's £1,026.84.
All right, I'll give them a bit more than that then. There you go.
Thank you.
A few more onions. Right. Okay. Thanks, Oliver. Thanks for coming along, and you've got it's been approved.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. You can say if you want, or he's gone. Right. Next one, please, Gary.
Okay, the next one is application RP 2420. It's British Legion Grave Memorial Restoration. It's actually on page 117, Appendix 4H, and it's for 103392. And this is both a north and south application. It went to south last week and it was approved. Members will see that it's not a complete application that's in the pack, but because of the time frame, it was difficult to get the full application together. The price, it was initially raised by a resident. Rochdale Cemetery provided a price for the work, as I say, which is £1,033.92. Thank you.
Okay, have we anybody introducing this, or?
Sorry, there's nobody here to introduce this particular project, because as I say, it was raised by a resident, and it's just Rochdale Cemetery staff that have sent us the photographs and have given us the price for the job.
Okay, so that's that's half of it, is it, with the 1,300?
That's more or less. It's a pro rata thing, but it's more or less a half. Yes.
Right. Okay. Anybody want to speak? Councillor Cox. Councillor Cox. Yeah.
Yes, I'm off mute now. Sorry, I'm just asking for information, really. Is this not a Commonwealth war grave? I don't understand what the difference between a British Legion grave is and what would normally be maintained by the Commonwealth War Graves Commission.
Personally, I'm not sure. I don't think it is, because we have had a conversation with the chair of the Rochdale branch of the British Legion.
Right.
And he welcomes the support. There was no reference to it being a war grave. But again, if you agree it, that can be done in principle, and I can check that if you wish. But no reference was made to that in the conversation with the chair of the British Legion.
No, I just don't understand the history of the grave in its format, or if it's just a memorial. That's what I was trying to get, if it is a grave or a memorial. If it's a memorial, then yes, fine.
Well, on the photograph, it's got British Legion grave, but I can certainly double check that later. But there again, if you want to agree it in principle, then I can check it subject to that.
Councillor Arna, do you want to speak?
Chair, I move we approve this, Chair, because I think it looks like the British Legion grave, and they need our support. So I think this is the best we can do.
Okay. Made a proposal. We got a seconder for that?
Second, there's agree there.
Okay, shall we go to the vote? Okay, and that's approved. That's 1,033.92. Yeah. And if you can get us that more information,
I will.
About it.
Yeah.
You get all sorts of things with British. This a pair of semis on Gale Street that have, if you look above, it's got British Legion on the British Legion houses. So
right.
There's all sorts of little little things that the British Legion do up and down, probably just after the war, and perhaps that must be one of them. So it is in Bamford again, isn't it? I've just realised that's why the south are. You always think of the cemetery being in Spotland and Fairlings, but it's not. It's in Bamford. Okay, well, shall we move on?
Okay, next application is RP 2620. It's Daniel Fold pedestrian guardrail. It's application 4I on page 119, and the request is for £300. And Nathan's in attendance to answer any questions, I believe.
Okay, any questions?
Chair, I would
Yes.
like to withdraw this application. I've been discussing this matter with Councillor Massey earlier today. There isn't enough width in the footway to install the guardrail as originally proposed. I don't know if Councillor Massey would like to comment as well. We're looking at alternative solutions, and we'll probably be putting in a funding request at a later date.
Okay. Right. I'm just mindful we're coming to the end of the financial year, and if you don't commit the money, you lose it. So might be able to help me out. Councillor Massey.
Thank you, Chair. As Nathan said, we have looked at this, and it's in order to stop children from running out into the road when they come off the play area down the lane from there. If we can commit the funding to it, we are looking at an alternative, as Nathan said, a gate, which we feel it will perhaps cost more than what is currently there wrote down. So if we can commit this funding, I would be appreciative of it, and we could then look to bring it back again for the rest.
Yeah. Okay. Did you want to speak then, Councillor Rana?
Yeah, Chair, just mention this point. You mentioned about that if we don't commit it, we lose it. I think there was a decision made, and in one of the cabinet meeting as well, and the leader is aware of this issue as well. Anything like the 5,000 we got left over today after the meeting, we can carry that forward, Chair.
Yeah, but I was at a meeting last night with finance, with the other chairs and vice chairs, and basically what they were saying is, yeah, you can commit the money, but you have to have a specific project. You can't just roll that balance over. That's what they intimated at that meeting last night. So that's why I'm saying commit it to this project, i.e. the objective of stopping kids from running out on the road, and whatever engineering solution you come up with, that money will have been committed to it. Yeah, you agree to
Chair,
that?
I think you are right. Chair, I think you are right. We just should commit it just now, and if they come back with another proposal, we'll look into that in the next financial year.
So that money would have been committed to that report. The objective is to stop the children running, like I've said. It doesn't have to be, obviously it's not going to work because Nathan tells us it's not viable, but there is perhaps another option that could come around, whether it's that price or not, that money could go towards it. Yeah.
Can we increase the price, Chair?
Well, we'd have to get what you would have to come in next year with that and say, well, look, it's we've got 300 towards it, and it's less or more or whatever we've come up, or whatever solution we've come up with. Because we've applied for that, haven't we? We just haven't got the, we haven't come up with the correct solution. I think we agree in principle that there's something should be there to prevent the children, to keep children safe. I'm just mindful that if you just let it go, you come back again and that 300 will have disappeared.
So, Chair, could the committee agree that if it's not a massive amount extra, that we agree this and do any extra on delegated so it doesn't delay the project going in?
Yeah, of course we could. Because yeah, anything under 5,000 can be delegated.
Just that way, it doesn't. If it's a safety thing, it doesn't hold it up while we go through kind of elections and PERDA and all the things that hold these things up.
There are plenty of those coming in between, the next financial year. What I'm trying to say is that's what the finance came out with about carrying money forward, as long as it's committed to a project. It doesn't have to be the full amount, but if it's committed to that project, you can carry it. You can carry it into next financial year.
Chair, can I just ask a couple of questions? If that's okay. The alternative site, Nathan, have we any ideas if it would be considerably more expensive, or is it too early to comment on that at this stage?
It's too early to comment, Gary. The proposal will be a gate, the soft closure gates that they have at play areas. So they're provided by environmental management. So I don't have an idea of cost, unfortunately.
Okay, just one other comment as well. I mean, what we could do, by the time we've worked through all these applications tonight, there will be a little bit of spur finance at the end of it. At this stage, I'm not sure what that's going to be, but it could be in the region of maybe £1,200, £1,300. We could commit that outstanding balance plus the £300, which has been asked for initially. So that will give us like £1,500 to commit to this project, which would help, and it gets rid of all our funds. But obviously, we can discuss that in a bit more detail later when we come to the urgent item that you've put on the agenda, Chair. So for the moment, could we say just support it for £300 in principle, but we can come back to it after we've discussed the urgent item? Is that reasonable?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I think we're agreed on that. I see lots of nodding heads. So yeah, that's fine. Okay, move on to the next one, please.
The next one is RP 2720, which is Ings Lane, Ruley Road litter bins. The request is for £752.40. Appendix 4J, page 121. Fairly self-explanatory, and all Michael Bushman's in place if you want to ask any questions. And I think Councillor Massey's been involved in this request as well. Thank you.
Okay, I think they're pretty straightforward, aren't they? More or less delegated, but can we have a show of hands? We approve that, yeah? Okay. That proposal is agreed.
Okay.
Next one.
The next one is the late item that came in initially, which is RP 2020 Edenfield Road driver feedback signs. That's on Appendix 5A on page 3 of the supplementary pack, and it's for £5,436.48. And I think John McCall is available to present the application and answer any questions. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Gary. Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Thanks for being patient and waiting, but save the best well last. Okay. Over to you.
The proposal is to raise driver speed awareness in the centre of Norden and to install a vehicle activated sign either side of the centre of the village. One would be a mains operated one, and the other one would be a solar powered one. The detail of the sign, there's two options. There's one that details the speed of the sign and then a slow down. And the other option is if people are going below the speed limit, a smiley face, and above the speed limit, a sad face. So they're the proposals for the signs. We've been out to site with Nathan to have a look at the locations to see where best to get, the drivers so they can see the signs and make them aware.
Yeah, I've read it where one's this side of the village and one's the top side of the village. Yeah, that looks fairly good. Obviously, speeding cars is top of the list of every councillor's casework. It'd be interesting to see how these go on. Why is one solar and one powered off the lamp
the
pole?
one that's solar is quite clear where it is, but the other one on the excuse me, on the Shorefield side, there's quite a lot of trees around where the sign's proposed to go, so the solar panel wouldn't work at that location.
I see, right, I'm with you.
So we've had to put a provision in for installing some ducting and cabling.
Right. Okay, I'm with it with that. Any questions for John on these? Councillor Heatkin? Yeah.
We have to vote on the options tonight because you got option 1 and option 2. I must admit, I do prefer when I'm told what to do. That is, slope down is far more assertive and it gives a direct order. That's my opinion anyway.
I think I'd leave that to the ward councillors, to be honest.
Right.
It's they put some money towards it, and whether they want smiley face or
no.
anything. I like the face. I like the face, mate.
Down.
I think children sort of point out to the mums and dads and whatever. Look, we've got a frowny face, or we've got a smiley face.
They're not driving though.
But then again, you've got your petrol heads who take no notice and set them off anyway. So I'd say leave it to the ward councillors, if that's okay. Have you decided which you want? No, ward councillors.
We could have one of each, Chair.
You could, yeah. So,
yes. We'll keep you both happy.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Yeah.
You can see which works better.
Yeah, I'd like you could do a survey on this.
Chair, I think Northern Ward councillors are getting really bargain for 2 signs. And if I remember, we paid about £7,000 on Rullimore Road for 1 sign. So they are getting buy one, get one free.
Sounds, yeah.
It's a good deal for them. I think they should grab it.
Definitely smiley faces. All right, can we just approve the funding and let the councillors sort it out what they actually want? Yeah. So that's approved. That's the what is it, 5,436.48. Where did you get the 48p from? That must be the smile. Okay, that's approved. Thanks, John.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we've got this last one now. What I brought. Yeah, Gary.
Yeah. The last one. The chair touched on this at the beginning of the meeting, and an application has come through from Environmental Management via Martin Taylor about the opportunity to purchase some dedicated environmental CCTV cameras that can target fly tipping hotspots. They would be dedicated to doing that, and it will give you as township members the opportunity to have input into where the cameras go. Obviously, when hotspots are identified. Now, the cost of the cameras are 7,000. I just lost it. £7,600. The cost of the cameras. Now we have got funding available. It is the last meeting in this particular financial year, so the proposal is to, if you are willing, is to support that, because it's an opportunity. I mean, fly tipping blights every ward in the borough, so it's a good opportunity to actually do something about it. I believe the cameras are high quality. I think that's all I need to say at this moment, Chair.
Yeah. It's also a local firm.
It's a local firm, yeah.
Kingsway based. So it can be moved around. I thought initially we're buying it for the township, and I thought we'd start off alphabetical order, and find. I'm sure Central has 1 or 2 hotspots on fly tipping, etc., and we'll look how it goes there. Say for, I don't know, 3-month period, a quarterly period, something like that. And then if it's successful, perhaps look at buying another one or moving that to somewhere else where they have, you know, issues. Obviously, you need a lamppost. It's urban, you know. All your Sycamore and Ely Dell and Ashworth Valley, you're not going to be able to power that there. That I think that's another issue that we need to look at. And I know that Nordin have purchased some equipment for that. So, but rather than lose this money, if we have a project, you know, we can use that money without no carry forward now. Okay,
Chair,
Councillor.
Can I just add one other thing as well? I mean, I know we're discussing about purchasing one, but there is the opportunity to purchase 2. Now, I apologise to Central Ward councillors because I meant to discuss this with you earlier. I did send you an email, but I'm not sure if you received it.
No, carry on. Sorry.
But there is a project in Central that can't be progressed because of a number of issues, and I have contacted the ward councillors on that. That was on Red Lane and Park Road councillors, just for reference. Now, just over £4,340 was committed to that particular project, but it can't happen now. So I'm just wondering if that £4,340 from Central Ward could be decommitted, and that could be put towards the purchase of another camera, which could be supplemented with some of the money that's still remaining. Does that make sense to everybody?
It's just for the Central.
No, it's not just for Central. Well, it's not just for Central.
No, we are happy actually if it's just for the Central, because we have several hotspots.
But
you'll get. Well, if we get 2,
but you've got 2.
You get the first one, and then
we will keep that one.
You keep that for 6 months, and then whoever gets the next, you know, the 6 months, if we go like that. I mean, I'm looking perhaps at 1 for each ward.
Yeah,
if they're successful.
Very good.
You know, they'll pay for themselves, won't they? Council wise.
Yeah.
And with fly tipping being, you know, it's been horrendous in this lockdown. It has in over our end, but I'm sure it has up wherever you are. Yes, go ahead.
Can I just come in? I've just seen Gary's email what he sent us actually, and I think it's a very good idea. Since that money is there, we can actually get another one. We're probably able to do 2 hotspots in the month instead of doing 1 places, because I think once we start doing that, everyone else will be starting wanting it in their wards, because we do have a lot of fly tipping issues, and I think EM is working really hard on it, and especially in Central Ward on depletion, etc. There is quite a large amount of fly tipping, and if we can grab them, we could probably make some money out of them as well. So it's a very good idea, and it's going to be well spent money, I think. So let's give it a try and get 2.
Okay, that's the proposal. It balances the books, stops us losing the money that was allocated for Central. It's going back into Central with a view to getting another one to you know, benefit the other wards.
I'll propose the 2.
So, all right, we've got a proposal for that.
Yeah, can I just add a point?
Second.
This.
Yeah, can I?
Hang on, I've got James, and then Councillor Rana. James, get outside.
We've put some up in Ashworth Valley, which have been donated by people who live round there. But one of the major things that's helped is having notices up saying, with great big notices saying there are CCTV cameras, so don't fly tip or something along those lines. And I think the notices have had a great effect, because they can't see where the actual cameras are, but they can certainly see the notices, and they are having a big effect. The notices. So I suspect we do need notices as well as just the camera.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's in the I got the email last week. I think Gary could send that out to everyone. the actual spec of these cameras. They look really, really high tech, and how it records it and sends it back to this monitoring service. You know, at the moment it's a bit Heath Robinson. Some of these cameras, how we, you know, the one we had a temporary one in Healy, and you had to. Well, somebody unplugged it, unfortunately, when we had an incident, and you had to go into the building, and then you had to get one of the officers up to key in the codes and all sorts of stuff. And yeah, I agree with the notice. The notices do have an effect. The problem is they always come to Whaley-Dell and dump it instead of in Ashworth Valley, but that's another issue.
Okay.
So, all right, there's been a proposal, the seconder.
Can I come in, please, Chair?
Okay.
Yeah, Chair, I think the fly tipping is the problem in every ward. You know, we get that all the time as well. And I think it's a good idea, like Gary proposed, and I was going to say that as well, that whatever is left over from this year's budget, our funding, we can commit that. And also if you want to bring into the central ward into this pot as well, so the pot gets bigger, and then we may have chance of getting more cameras. So the only issue I would say is that please, it got to be as North Township, and then so that we can have that as well in our ward, you know, as and when required. So 2 year, 3 years, whatever environmental management decides, and then we can have, you know, on the hotspots.
Yeah. Well, once we've committed that, they're out the hours. I mean, we'll make up the difference in the next financial year with the other 3,000 short. So we'll have 2. That's 2 more than any other. I don't know how many other townships have gone for this. I've just seen a few emails flying about, but there were no commitment. But they've already done. Martin Taylor's already done the commissioning form. It's pretty straightforward. You know how it'll go. I think we'll get it quite soon and get it up in central. But the beauty of them is this mobility, where you can move it around, move it into different wards or whatever. So I think Sultan wanted to speak. Yeah, did you have your hand up, Sultan?
Yeah, Chair, sorry, nothing important, but I just wondered where are they going to be kept? I think we should keep them in the township office rather than environmental management, because not literally just keeping it for littering or fly tipping. It could be used for other antisocial behaviour and traffic and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think storage is very important, and then obviously the insurance of it as well.
Well, they're actually fixed. They're fixed to the lamppost. They're powered off the lamppost, and they're fixed there. And they're out. They will belong. Well, they belong to the council really, but they'll belong to Rochdale North. We'll have. We'll be able to.
Yeah.
You know, part of the agreement is to have them moved about. I think. I'll have to read it again, but it costs so much to move it around, but it's not a fortune. And it's all I don't, you know, Wi-Fi, electronic, and it picks it up really, really good. They're really advanced, really clear, so they tell us, and it does pick up. It has that facility of pick up what they call it, what the police have, the number plate recognition. So it can do more than just fly tipping. It can do, you know, a multitude of our issues, what we get on a regular basis.
Well, I hope nobody's offended, Chair, but you know the sentiment, where I'm coming from.
Yeah, without a doubt, yeah. We don't want it stuck in a storeroom somewhere. We want it out, you know, doing what the public are asking us to do. They come up with this about cameras a lot, but we've always come across these barriers to putting them up and maintaining them, and you know, but technology has moved on, and it's come from environmental management. I think Rochdale has been highlighted as the worst in, I don't know, perhaps the northwest, but even bigger for fly tipping. So the amount we are spending on fly tipping is horrendous. But obviously the townships are going to pick this bill up, but hopefully in the long run it'll save us, the public of Rochdale, a lot of money and make the place tidier. Okay, so we had a proposer, I think, didn't we? I've lost who. Somebody proposed it.
I did.
All right. Ali Ahmed proposed it. Have we got a seconder? Yeah, Rachel. So all those in favour of this? I think that's unanimous. I think it's a brilliant decision. I think we've balanced the books, and we've got something to show for it, some hardware to show for it, and a lot of community projects that will benefit our residents in Rochdale North.
Chair, just a quick point.
Okay.
Because of the contribution from Central Ward, that leaves us with a balance of approximately £1,200. So if that £1,200 is added to the £300 for the guardrail?
Yeah.
So we can commit say £1,500 at this stage to the guardrail.
Yeah.
And then we'll see what the cost of that is over the next few weeks or whatever. Is that okay?
Yeah. That's good. Like I said, committed to a project, we keep it. We keep the money, and it's not going back into the pot, and we'll never see it again. So I think that's a good evening's work. So if there's anything else.
Well, on behalf of the Conservative Group, Chair, I'd like to thank you for chairing Township North for us for the last year.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Do you know something that I don't know? I'm up for election, you know.
Last 2 years.
I'm talking about till the 6th of May, whoever we invite back on the 6th of May. may not be me either.
Okay.
Anyway, so I'm taking the opportunity of thanking you for your year's work.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
On behalf of our group.
Well, I think it's a team effort. It's a
you
Rochdale
always
North
look
team. I mean, we have been feeling our way, especially in the COVID situation. We're feeling our way with this new setup for Rochdale North, Rochdale South, but it seems to be working. And I think it's one of if we're balancing the books at the end, we must be doing something right.
Brilliant.
Okay. So without further ado, I'll thank everybody for their contributions, and safe journey back to the kitchen.